and I've taken many steps towards stopping people pleasing, still on my way very much. But it is really a topic of interest. And I feel in today's society, it's becoming more and more. I think we are drawn into this people-pleasing mode, also because we are getting more, we are more exposed to the internet. We are seeing how people are criticizing others. Everyone is putting their opinion out in the open. So our society is very much based on this thing of trying to look good. Some people would call the looking good syndrome, and trying to create an image of the self and putting that image kind of out there and yeah, trying to seek approval from this. And from a very young age, we learn that if we perform well, if I'm a good girl or a boy, if I perform well at school, if I do what I'm supposed to do, I will be rewarded. This is something, you know, from a very young age, this is what we learn. And for myself personally, I grew up in, of course, I was at school and I was kind of a good student and trying to please everyone there as well. But also I was studying music, classical music. And even there, at every step, even to the extent of going to music university, when reflecting back and looking at it, I can see how even through this process, even studying arts, there was always the thought, what will other people think about it? How can I play the music that I'm playing so that everyone will kind of like the music and will like me? And it's not a conscious thought like that, but it's very much in the background. So I feel that being conditioned by society, by parents, by teachers, by everyone, like learning, getting information about how we should be, how we should think, what kind of opinions we should have, how we should speak, all of these things, they go very deep into the self without us noticing it, and we kind of start behaving in those ways without choosing it, but it just becomes a way of being, that rather than living from the inside, getting in tune, getting in touch with myself, feeling what is it that I want to do or need to do, I kind of start to live from how other people perceive me or how I think other people perceive me, and I try to live up to everyone else's standards. And while, of course, we want to make other people happy, although I would argue that we cannot really make anyone happy because each one's happiness is kind of, each one is responsible in a way for their own happiness, but we can contribute to others being happy. We can definitely support other people on their way and in their life. And then there is the other aspect of people pleasing. So for me, when I look at, because I was even thinking about the topic of this evening, what is people pleasing? How can I know what is the difference between people pleasing and truly serving someone else or uplifting someone else, which is something we would like to do? And I think it has very much to do with the intention behind what we do. And whereas with people pleasing, normally what we see is that the intention behind it, the seed of it, is deep insecurity. I'm doing something for someone else, trying to please someone else, because there's a part of me that needs their approval, that wants their recognition, wants their love. and wants to be seen, recognized, all of these things. So this is behind people pleasing. So it is this insecurity and the need to receive something back. Whereas if I'm truly uplifting someone else, I'm contributing to their happiness, I am supporting them in life, truly, that would be from a place of self-respect, from a place of inner strength, and from a place of feeling somehow full. And these two energies are so different. It may seem like similar, but it's actually the opposite. And again, just referring to my own experience, I was telling that I was brought up in a normal family, I would say, and I lived a kind of a normal life, but very much having the thought all the time to wanting to perform well, to do good at school, to fit in with my friends. I would often be, really trying to fit in, not daring to voice my own opinions sometimes. Often doubting even my own discernment when making decisions, trusting other people more than myself, and putting other people's needs and preferences over my own. This is something I know very well from my own experience. And coming from a place of insecurity. And then I think the shift in my life happened when I really started to take steps towards stopping this and really beginning a new path in a way. It was really like a shift in my life. And this was something I saw. There was a relationship with a person in my life who was like a really good friend of mine. But there was really a power imbalance, I would say. She was really the dominant in the relationship, in our interactions. And I would really be trying to please her a lot and go a lot out of my way to do as I thought she would want me to be and what she wanted me to do. And this went on for some years, actually, where I was always trying to please her and gaining her recognition, gaining her love, gaining her approval, to the extent that I was seeing that I was starting to feel more and more sadness in my life. And I think when we are just checking ourselves, checking, am I someone who is people pleasing a lot? Am I someone who is really putting other people's preferences and needs always over my own? What happens over time is that this is that sadness that we begin to experience, and our self-worth and self-respect really going down. And even feelings of, it might even go to the extent of feeling some depression or feeling very flat or feeling really that I'm almost not being myself, always somehow creating myself for someone else, pretending that I'm someone that I'm not, just to please someone else, to fit into someone else's, live up to someone else's expectations. And for some of us, like myself, sometimes this needs to be, or does go into a bit of the extreme until we reach the point where we really feel that this is not going to, I cannot handle this anymore. When the sadness and becomes too much and we feel just, weak in ourselves. So for myself, it reached the point where I really thought that now I have a choice. Either I keep on doing like I've been doing, like I keep on pleasing her and just doing what she wants and kind of letting her preferences always be a priority, or I will need to have a honest conversation with her, and I will need to face the consequences of being honest and not pleasing her and just seeing what happens. And for me, I had reached such a state, such a point that this is what I had to do. I couldn't go on like I had. So I had an honest, authentic conversation with her, and I told her that I cannot go on like this, and just told her what I was feeling, what I had been feeling for a long time, actually. And she didn't take it very well. She wasn't pleased with me at all, and the relationship changed. So it was a tough time. But coming out on the other end of it, I felt so much stronger. And from then onwards, it has just been going upwards, I would say. And feeling that no matter what others are going to feel about me or their opinions of me, it's not something I can do anymore to live as if I'm like pretending to be someone else or living up to someone else's standards or expectations. So it has been a liberating journey. And for me to see when am I people pleasing and when is it really like truly serving someone else. And I think it's a good measurement that we can all use is to check my level of contentment. So if I am people pleasing, I will not be content. This is how I can see it. Afterwards, I will feel there's a part of me that feels drained. I will feel a little sad, or I will feel weak. I'm not feeling I'm in my strength, I'm in my power, but I'm actually feeling weak. I'm feeling subservient to someone else. And this is not going to bring me contentment. And even if I'm rewarded, let's say I'm pleased someone else and that person then gives me some love or gives me some recognition. So in the moment, it can be a nice feeling that someone else is giving me love. But it's very temporary. It's like the pleasure that I can get from eating chocolate or getting something very short-lived pleasure. But in the long run, I will feel how really my energy is going downwards, 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 and I'm losing sight of my own unique purpose in life because I'm just serving someone else's. I'm living for someone else, not to serve my own purpose. And when I say serve my own purpose, I actually think when we live our own purpose, it is also the best thing we can do for the world. I think that goes together, but that's another matter. Whereas sometimes we do go out of our ways to serve other people, but it's not from a place of weakness. It's from a place of self-respect, strength, love, compassion for the other one. And when it really feels right to do something for someone else, but it's my choice and I do it happily. I do it from a place of self-respect. And the feeling that I get afterwards is a deep sense of contentment because I was true to my values of love, my values of compassion, and I was not trying to get anything back from the other person. I was just doing this because it felt like the right thing to do. So these are very different aspects, but I would say if I want to check myself, contentment is a great measurement to see where I'm at with this. And why do we people please? Why are we always trying to gain other people's recognition and love and appreciation? Why can I not just live from my own authentic self? As one friend of mine once said, she said, I don't understand it. When I'm on my own, I'm at home and I'm maybe meditating or just being by myself, I feel so happy. I feel so strong. I feel really like being in my own element. I feel like being myself. But sometimes as soon as I'm with other people, I feel I become small. I'm not able to be authentic. I start pleasing others. I'm not able to just be free and like share happily my own thoughts. So she was amazed at this, and it's this again, this people-pleasing thing. So I'm going to share on the screen. Yes, so why do we want to people please others? I think the root of it is the feeling of deep insecurity. We feel deeply insecure. And there are several reasons for this. When I was exploring this, I felt that these 3 reasons are definitely there. So one of them is the need for belonging. And all of us, all human beings that I think I can say, have the need to belong. It's a deep need in the human soul to belong. And we search for this consciously or unconsciously. We try to fit into a group. We try to, to fit into, to please a particular society or culture or friends or family or even our partner, or it can come out in different ways. But how to, I think we have this feeling of the need for belonging. How can that need be met without me compromising myself? And I heard once, many, many years ago, one of my teachers saying, which I found very interesting. He said, before wanting to belong to anyone else, a group or a person or anyone else, you first of all have to belong to yourself. And this was really shifted something for me too. I never thought that this could be a thing, that I belong to me. But when I realized this, that I belong to me, and no matter what happens, no matter what anyone else is going to say or think about me, I am going to stand by my side. I am not going to leave myself. I am not going to reject myself. So the feeling of belonging is like, what happens if I don't have the feeling of belonging? There is the fear of rejection. And if I am in a group and let's say I feel that I'm somehow different from others in the group, this is something I myself used to feel a lot often when I was younger and at school and things like that. I often used to feel that I'm so different from everyone else and I don't really fit here. I don't really belong here. If this is the feeling that I have, the root of it is actually that I don't fully belong to myself and I'm insecure. And before experiencing rejection from anyone else, and at that time, I often used to feel rejected by other people. I used to feel like, they might not want to be with me, they might find me boring, they might not like me, things like this. So even well into my adult years as well, or when I was a young adult as well, I was still feeling this. And then, out of that, going into the people-pleasing mode, which I was sharing before. But when I had this realization that I really have to make a decision, which I did, it was a very conscious decision at one point in my life, that I am going to belong to myself and I'm not going to reject myself no matter what. And it may seem for some who maybe are often used to criticize themselves a lot, talk themselves down and be harsh towards themselves. It may seem like not such an easy decision to make, but actually it can be a decision. And I'm really saying this from my own experience. There was a point in my life where I was feeling very down. I was almost to the level of feeling depressed because of having so much adjusted myself to other people's needs and really feeling very disconnected from my own needs and from my own self. So it was a conscious decision. I'm not going to reject myself anymore. I'm not going to put myself down or talk myself down. I'm going to belong to myself. I'm going to stand by my side no matter what. And even if I make mistakes, even if I do things that I would rather not have done, it's okay. I will learn from it, I will look at it, but I'm not going to reject myself. Just like a mother or a father would not reject their child, even if the child makes mistakes, the parents will give it even more love. Because when you make mistakes, you really don't need criticism. You need even more love. You need really compassion. And I have to be the one who gives this to myself when I'm feeling low. So, and what I observed from the time when I made this decision, which is quite many years ago, actually, maybe, I don't know, 10 to 15 years ago, I made this decision. And since then, I haven't felt rejected by other people, or very rarely. I almost cannot think of such incidents. I really felt I'm accepted, I'm loved as I am. So I realized it's not so much about the other people. It's this what needed really healing. I needed to accept myself fully. So I feel this is such a key to when we think like getting out of this habit of people pleasing, to really make the decision, I'm not going to reject myself anymore. And I'm going to cultivate the feeling that I belong to me. And I will stand by myself, and I will really be there for myself when I'm feeling low. Another aspect which is also behind people pleasing is a lack of the sense of self-worth. And this is also very deep in many of us. And it comes from compromising my values often. So it is a bit, it can become like a vicious circle, that if I people please and I go against my own values, I start to be a little dishonest in how I'm not sharing honestly about how I feel or my preferences. And I may even do things that are against my conscience because I'm trying to please others. So I may go into gossip, or I may do things or say things that are really not according to my values. So each time I do this, each time I go against my values, my self-worth weakens. And then because my self-worth weakens, I may start to people please even more, to try to get love from the outside and feel worthy again. So building self-worth, and I will come again to it a little later, but this is really also essential to begin to feel that I am worthy in myself. It's like a small child again, a small child, newborn child, like baby, doesn't have to do anything to be worthy. What is lovelier than newborn babies? They're so beautiful, they're so worthy of love and everything. So it's obvious with the babies, but any human being is worthy of love. So getting out of this mindset that I have to prove myself, that I have to do something to feel worthy. And again, I feel for myself, it's not that often in my life that other people have like been putting pressure on me or having expectations. I often feel it's mostly about my own expectations and pressure that I put on myself. So I need to cultivate the feeling that I am worthy. I don't have to do anything specific to be worthy. I am worthy in myself. As a human being, I am lovable and I am worthy. And this is what we do in meditation. I'm myself am a meditation practitioner for many years, and I feel that some of these concepts are easy to understand. And we say, yes, it sounds like yes. But we have to sit with those things and really go into the experience that I am worthy. Just sit with it for some minutes, to really like activate that feeling, which we will also do later on this evening. And the last aspect I thought was the need for harmony. And this I know also so well for myself, is the feeling that I need to keep everyone and everything peaceful. Like I need to keep the harmony. I want everyone to be at peace. I want everyone to be harmonious. And if I feel in my environment, in the groups where I find myself, in my family, or in my, wherever I am, if I feel that there is tension or there is negativity, I would easily feel that I need to fix things, or I need to somehow adjust myself, or I need to do something to please others so that they feel at peace again. And probably 1 or 2 years ago, a good friend of mine, like a spiritual mentor, I was having a conversation with her, and she was saying to me something that I'm remembering saying. She said, Stefanía, you need to learn to be at peace with this harmony. And this I loved. You need to learn to be at peace with this harmony. So what this for me, it means that it's not always my role to start to try to fix everyone, make everyone feel happy, make everyone feel at peace. It's not my role. They are doing what they have to do. Maybe they're going through a tough period in their lives, and maybe they have to experience tension. And sometimes if we try to keep everyone pleased, we keep things suppressed. We don't speak openly about, we don't say what needs to be said. We try to kind of suppress things and just keep everything peaceful on the surface. But maybe underneath there's a lot of tension, and I'm not addressing that tension. I'm not facing what needs to be faced. So when it comes to people pleasing, rather than saying what I need to say or my opinion about something respectfully, of course it matters how we say things, but if I say it respectfully, and if someone else then becomes tense and doesn't like it, so be it. Then I will have to just be able to be still at peace and not become upset because someone else is upset and start doubting myself, but just feel it's okay. We don't have to agree. It's fine if someone else is not pleased with me. Maybe it's a period of time, and it's some process that's going on maybe. So we have to learn this as well, or I have to learn this as well. This is really a journey that I am on still at the moment, not having the need to fix everything and other people. Just feel it's okay. Sometimes during times of transition or transformation in relationships, we need to go through times where there is some tension and rough times coming up, and it's fine. We can deal with it. So these could be some of the reasons for people pleasing. You might think of something else, but I think it could be a nice homework or something you might like to explore over the next days, is just to see for yourself. Look at this for yourself and just kind of check. Am I someone who needs, has the need for harmony all the time? Harmony is a good thing, but I have to see still that it doesn't become in the dysfunctional way. And do I have a deep sense of self-worth? And do I have the feeling that I belong to myself and that I don't reject myself no matter what? So these are some aspects to look at. And then we won't go into this now, but you might also want to explore this. Just checking in which relationships or areas of your life do you experience yourself to be people-pleasing? What is the insecurity or fear behind it? And how does this make you feel? So I would recommend just taking these questions, sitting quietly, maybe lighting a candle as is there on the picture, and just having the space, creating the space for the self to face myself honestly and see what is happening in my relationships. Are they really healthy and built on self-respect and respect, or is there some fear or insecurity? And then how do I increase my inner security if insecurity is the root is behind people pleasing? So what do I do to increase my inner security? And there are a few things that I have found very helpful on my journey, which I would like to just share with you. And one of them is this. I feel it is essential when we take steps towards inner growth and becoming more authentic in our own selves, getting to know ourselves better. And I felt on my own journey that getting to know myself, it means knowing both my strengths but also my weaknesses, my light, my brightness, my brilliance in a way, but also my shadows, my weaknesses, my darkness. And I feel that before I got to know these, of course, very much still on the journey, but I've learned so much over the past years, I feel. And I had to face my weaknesses. But every time I'm seeing a weakness in myself and I'm exploring it, I'm facing it, but with love and compassion for myself, but having the courage, having the honesty to really see the self, the less I will be afraid of other people's judgments. Because I know myself and I don't need them to tell me who I am. I know my strengths, I know my weaknesses. They can have their own opinions about me, that's absolutely fine, it's up to them. But because I know better and better who I am, their opinion matters less and less to me. Whereas I think for many people, I was just yesterday, I was giving a meditation course here in Iceland, and I was asking a few people who were attending, like, to just answer the question, who am I? And some of them were sharing like that they had no idea. They were feeling like, I really don't know who I am. And this is also how I used to feel previously. But continuing on the inner journey, we get to know ourselves gradually, better and better. And this really creates inner confidence. And also knowing what are the values that I stand for? What are the values that really I don't want to compromise? And then standing for those values, no matter what anyone else thinks or says. So this is like crucial, getting to know myself better. Another aspect is choosing values over self-image. So this will increase my inner security and my self-respect when I feel that it's just like I respect other people when I feel they are living from a place of integrity. They are authentic, they are living from a place of good values. So in the same way, my own self-respect will also increase when I feel that I am living in alignment with my values. And I myself, I had a job at some point, at some time. It was a well-paid job. It was a very nice position, and it was something that I was interested in. And I took the job, and I was doing it for some time. But at some point, I started to feel there is something mixed here, and the values in terms of the one who was like my boss are not so good. There is something not so clean here behind, and there is something I could just sense that the intentions behind the project. I was like, it was a project that I was part of. So I was faced with a decision: do I stay in this job? It looks nice on the outside. I have a title, I have good salary, I will like my image, my outside image is looking quite nice. It's all looking nice, but I have this deep feeling that there is something not quite right about this whole thing, about this whole project. So what is my choice here? And I really had to sit with this and think about it deeply, because I was also holding the thought that maybe I can change the other person, or maybe I can do something, but I tried and I couldn't really. So I made the decision, I have to step out of this. I cannot be involved in something that is really just compromising my own values too much. So I quit it. And even something like this, sometimes we will be faced with these decisions where I have to make choices which are tough, but standing by my own values will in the end be much more rewarding than something which is more external. So and this helps to increase my inner security, because when I feel that I'm honest on the inside, I'm living in alignment with my values, I'm honest, I'm clean somehow on the inside, I will start to feel also very confident. My confidence, my inner security will increase. which again will help me not to people please, but to live from a place of self-respect and dignity. The next point, truly serving rather than pleasing. This is also something to look at and to know that sometimes what people want is not what they need. So someone else may really be wanting me to be in a certain way or want something from me, but maybe it's not what they really need. So really also living from a place where I'm not just trying to please others, but I'm thinking, how can I serve best in this situation? So I'm not just saying things that are nice. I'm not just saying what I think the other person would like to hear, but I'm really saying something that I think can be of improvement or upliftment for the person and the situation. Sometimes this means having tough conversations or saying things that are not so easy for the other one to hear, but maybe it can be helpful for them. Just have to make sure that I say it from a place of really goodwill and that I'm not trying to control them, because that could be a trap as well. So knowing that in the long run, it is better to have the intention of serving, of uplifting truly, than just pleasing someone. It's again, if you think about children, sometimes we have to give them healthy food, which they don't like. They may not like us because we take the devices from them because we want to protect them. And they don't like us for that, but we do it anyway, because we know it's healthier for them to eat healthy food, for example. Or so it's same with adults, to really discern what is really the best in this situation. And lastly, which is connected with all the others, is working on increasing my self-respect. If I find myself a lot people-pleasing, it means I have to strengthen my self-respect. That's for sure. And there are different ways to do it, and I would say all of the other things, like getting to know myself better, choosing values over self-respect, and truly serving rather than pleasing. These are all ways to increase my self-respect. And then I can also, there are 4 affirmations or 4 thoughts that we can have, which you can see here on the screen, which are very profound, each one of them. And if I'm specifically working on stopping to people please and increasing my self-respect, these are feelings that I may want to take each one of them and really sit with them. Ask myself, so it's saying there, the first one is, I am safe. Next one, I am worthy of love. I am strong. I belong to myself. It's like a recipe for self-respect. But it's not enough just to say them. It's not enough to know them and just see them like some nice slogans or something. I need to actually sit with them, each one of them, and go into the experience. Really go inside and see if I can feel it, really feel it. Because thoughts are one thing, but it has been said that feelings are, I heard 5,000 times stronger than thoughts. I mean, when it really goes into my feeling, it really starts to transform the way I feel and the way I am. So what I would like to do now, because before we go into the Q&A, is just to guide a short meditation, just 2 or 3 minutes, where we go into the feeling of these thoughts, of these aspects. So I would like to just invite all of us to make ourselves very comfortable, wherever you're sitting or wherever you are, just making yourself comfortable. And just feeling that I'm sitting in a space and giving myself the space to care for myself. Perhaps I'm often more focused on caring for others thinking of other people's needs. But at this point, at this moment, I put everything else aside. And I imagine that I'm holding a pencil in my hand. And I draw a circle around my body. So I visualize there's a line, there's a circle around my body. And I bring my awareness inside this circle. And at this moment, I'm just sitting with myself. Everything else can wait outside of the line. And I realize that other people come and go in my life. Situations change. But I am always with myself. And I belong to myself. Before trying to belong to any group or any individual, I belong to myself. That's my foundation. And whether or not other people will reject me or have opinions about me, I am not going to reject myself, ever. This is a decision I can make. I am not going to reject myself, ever. This makes me feel very safe and free. I'm not dependent on anyone else's opinion. I am free to be myself. To be my own unique self. And I am worthy of love. I don't need to prove myself. I don't need to earn love. I am worthy of love just by being myself. And I feel how this makes me strong. How I can open my heart to life, to other people. While feeling safe. While feeling loved. And when I come out of the meditation, I open my eyes if I had closed them. Maybe I want to take a deep breath. Thank you. So I think now we will have some time for Q&A.
Thank you. That was really very, very beautiful. There's a couple of things I'm walking away with, but one of those things is, do I belong to myself? That was really very, very beautiful. Yes, questions have been coming in. We've got a whole flow of them. So the very first one is, how do I detach from people pleasing I developed from my childhood and from personality traits as an adult.
Yes. I think it's, of course, some aspects were mentioned, like how strengthening the self-respect is key. But I also feel when it comes to childhood, and I think for many of us who are people pleasers, we would have been doing that for a long time, and even from very early childhood. I think the importance of inner healing is also very important to really invoke the soft energy of compassion, of love for the self, and invite healing into our lives and to give space. Like I was actually sharing with our team before the talk began, we were just having a chat, and I was sharing with her how these days recently I've started to have a date with myself once every 7, 8, 9 days. I try to do it once a week or once every 10 days. I just really make time to have a quality time with myself, where I almost like I would do with, some people might do if they have a date with another person, but I just do it for myself. I light a candle, I do something that really nurtures me and that brings a sense of healing, brings a sense of, like, invites this soft energy into my life, because otherwise so often we are kind of caught up in doing and performing and achieving and all of these things. And then, I mean, the question was also, how do I detach from, this is also a practice that I have been exploring for many, many years now, is detaching from my own perceived personality of myself, like a perception of myself, and beginning to, through the meditation, really beginning to cultivate a completely new experience of myself, which is more than based on the roles that I play or my achievements in life or things like that. To cultivate the feeling that my main role is in life is to be a peaceful and loving soul, to be a peaceful and loving human being. And then my old perception, like I used to feel about myself that I was so shy, I was so weak somehow, and I mean I had some personality traits that maybe someone had said to me, or I had kind of taken from other people as well, people's opinions about me. But once I've started to discover my inner being and really start to root myself in the awareness that I am none of these things, I'm a loving being, I'm a strong being, I'm a peaceful being, and cultivated this through meditation, gradually the old perceptions of myself have started to kind of melt away. It is a journey. It definitely does not happen overnight or something. But this is why inner space exists, for example, offering, this is like a continuous journey. So I hope this, answers to some extent the question.
Thank you. The next question is, oh, I've lost it. I apologize. Let me try again. The next question is, what about when you don't please people all the time and as a result are excluded from your work team because of it? And you experience passive aggression day in, day out. So it's either you do what they want, or they will engage in this behavior. Do you have any advice?
Well, that's an interesting one. I was actually talking with someone yesterday who was kind of sharing the same problem, same issue. What I find very important when we, in our effort to stop people pleasing, I still have to be very aware of my own attitude towards the other person. So if I'm in a workplace where people are negative or they're, even being against me, I could easily slip into the mode of then also being critical of them and feeling like, my attitude easily becomes negative. And this is what they actually pick up, and they will judge me even more. Whereas if I just stand by my values, I'm not criticizing them, but I'm true to my values in this situation. I have to be true to my values. I'm not people pleasing, but I still need to make sure that my attitudes towards those I'm working with are filled with goodwill, are filled with positivity. I know that is easier said than done, but the thing is that in the long run, if I really make sure and I do all my best to keep my vision for them one of respect, it will have to come back to me. It's like whatever attitudes I have, this is what I will get back. If I respect others, they will respect me. It may take time, but there will come a time when they will actually respect me back. It's a law in life. So I think it has to be, when we start people pleasing, I have to be careful of my attitudes, and and even then you could say, how can you respect someone who is like doing something that's not respectful? Sometimes I almost feels like I feel like I can be like an elder sister to someone. So it's almost like having younger siblings. They do something which may not be the best thing to do, and I may see it, but rather than judging them and putting them down, can I still keep my attitude supportive? Because in that way, there may be a chance later on when they actually begin to trust me, they may actually come to me to look for advice, and that the means of communication will still be open. So it's a big thing, and I realize it's not always easy, but from my experience, definitely if there is difficulty in relationship with other people, when I start to work on my own attitudes and I make sure that my attitude towards them is filled with just positivity and goodwill, their attitude will change. It may take time, but it will definitely change over time. So really watch my own criticism and judgment. So yeah, this is...
As you said,
want to add anything, Arti, to that, if you have any insight yourself?
Well, I was just agreeing with you that it's easier said than done. And I think that this whole thing of holding someone in a positive vision and not reacting to them, particularly if they've behaved unpleasantly towards you, there's no point start trying to practice it then. I believe that you have to practice this kind of thing before anything happens. And then if you've got into a role of having positive vision towards someone, then when they do behave unpleasantly, you're more likely to say they're having a bad day, or they've misunderstood me, but they're really very good. You don't get into loggerheads with them.
No.
At least I don't.
And not make it too personal also. Like, I just have to be clear about my values, and if I'm in a workplace, I say what I have to say, but try also to keep a sense of detachment. Because other than that, I kind of have to let go. If they still do something which is not then according to, how I would have done it, and if it's not in my role to do something about it, I will kind of have to let go. But if I at least stick to my principles, I will be content. I will be okay. And maybe at some point I feel it's right for me to even move on and get another job. I mean, that can also happen, like happened in my case, which I was sharing before. But often if I make sure that I'm okay with my principles and values, then things will turn out well.
It's really interesting because we've spoken about the workplace, but how do you handle the family situation where you are required, almost forced to attend gatherings? You're not able to keep your distance anyway, but there's high levels of expectations of you to do certain things and often not getting help. Or getting a response, even the thank you from people that are in your family. Workplaces you can change. Families is another ballgame. So what's your response to that?
So So sometimes we do have choices. So I have to also look honestly, is it really something I have to do, or do I have a choice here? And I remember once there was someone in my family who was complaining that she had to attend so many family gatherings during Christmas. And she really wanted just to be at home and read her new book and be in her pajamas and eating some cookies and things like that. She didn't want to go to all these Christmas parties. And every Christmas she would complain a little bit and say, oh, there are so many Christmas parties in the family of her husband. This was where it was happening. And she was complaining once more, and I was asking her, I said, do we really have to attend all those Christmas parties, or could you just not go to some of them? And then her husband was sitting and listening to us, and he was saying it would actually be much better if she wouldn't come to all of those, because she's feeling discontent and she's not bringing like joy to those places. So I found that interesting, and then we just laughed, all of us. But just realizing that sometimes you don't have to do as much as you might think you have to do. But of course, sometimes you are in a situation where you discern this is the right thing to do because of my values of whatever it is, kindness, compassion, So I go there not out of duty, but because of my own values. And this I use for myself when I discern if I'm invited to go somewhere, and I have to, maybe I would rather stay at home, and I have to make a decision, should I do this or not, or help someone or whatever. I check in with my own values and I see, is this really, if I want to be true to my values, does that mean that I should really go there? And then sometimes it is, often it is, and then I kind of do it happily, not to please the others, but because this is who I am as a person. And it's more than a chance to act out love, compassion, care. And when my focus is more on this rather than just pleasing the other one, then somehow it changes a lot. And I feel it becomes more meaningful. And somehow the situation changes. But yeah, I don't know if this makes sense, but it's what I I check in with myself. I don't just do things. I really started to select, how do I use my time, and checking in with it really, my own values.
I think that a number of people are asking about relationships. Should they walk away or cut off? And I think you've answered that, or just keep going with the relationship, even though your people-pleasing approach isn't working. I think you've answered all those questions. One, do I really need to be doing everything that's requested of me? Two, what are my values? And three, am I doing it because of my values? Then it's nothing to do with the other person.
Yeah.
I know that I really follow this, well, I try to. It's I'm a work in progress, but I have a rule. And the rule is that I'm going to respect everybody, whether they consider themselves, or if I think what they're doing is respect worthy or not.
Yeah.
The individual living being is worthy of respect, and I have to hold on to that.
Yeah.
I don't have to respect what they're doing.
Yeah.
But I do need to respect the living being
Exactly
in front of me. And that's something I have to keep going back to, because I know my happiness is tied to that.
And also what comes to mind, that if I am living according to my values, let's say I'm helping someone, and it's kind of a duty, it's not something I really like to do, but I feel I have to do it. But if I activate my values and I just do it from my heart, I do it with love, I do it with care, I'm actually accumulating in my own, you could say almost like a bank account of values. I'm actually building my character, I'm building my strength. I'm also gaining. So not just seeing that I'm giving so much, that feeling is not really, but feeling that I'm also growing through this. I'm being strengthened. So again, the matter of contentment. If I feel drained and discontent when I leave a situation, I was probably not serving anyway. And then maybe I better leave it. But if my focus is on I'm growing as a person, I do this, but I have my focus on activating my values and qualities, then I will feel content. When I walk out of the so-called duty, but I actually feel I was also gaining something myself.
Okay, I know we're over time, but I'm going to ask you this one last question because a number of people are asking about this context that you said. What does I belong to myself look like? Can you expand on that? And also, can you give some practical examples of how that applies, even in your decision-making process?
Yeah, oh, that's very interesting. So yeah, belonging to myself, really feeling that I belong to myself is again the feeling of as I mentioned also before, it's the feeling of not rejecting myself and feeling a friend to myself. So not feeling that I need anyone or anything else to make me feel complete. So even if people come and go out of my life, and as many of you might have experienced that maybe you had a relationship with some person and then that person is not in your life anymore and you feel maybe lost or you feel like incomplete. But if I have cultivated the feeling that I am complete in myself, I would say belonging to myself is also the feeling of I am complete in myself. If I have other people as well who are loving me and who are with me, that's a plus. It's really wonderful. But I don't need it. I'm not dependent on it. And I cultivate it by just as with any other relationship, I need to give it time. I need to give it quality time. I was telling you before that I like to go on a date with myself these days, which for me means like even doing something that I really feels nurtures me. So it means I need to spend some quality time with myself. And I need to, just like a mother or a father would do for themselves, my self-talk needs to be also loving towards myself. And really like inclusive almost like, but towards myself, not towards anyone else. And I think the tips is like, yeah, it's like going on this journey of self-exploration, which is so pleasant and so interesting actually. But I guess this could be like it's a whole topic in itself. But I would say the feeling of really feeling complete in myself, feeling close to myself, present with myself.
Wow, what a fantastic evening. Thank you so much for your insights, for your openness, and the sharing of your own journey, but also for the meditation. You really did take us to a point where you talked about feeling complete just now. I think you did that for us as well. So thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and thank you everyone also for your questions, and I can feel that you have been really listening well, which is always wonderful. So yeah, so I would just wish all of us, including myself, best wishes for this journey of becoming our own best friends and belonging to ourselves. Yes, thank you, Arti.
Oh, thank you.